to welcome everyone to ATTO's roundtable discussion about why Ethernet and tape. A quick snapshot of today's agenda points, including, these are our agenda points, and then at the end, we'll also include a session with questions and answers. So at this time, I'd like to ask, if you're not already muted, please make sure that you're muted. Feel free to take yourself off video. And at the end, when we do our questions and answers, we'll also have you could use your chat box for that. So if I can, I'm going to get started with our session. So just our panel introduction. I'm Michelle Seifert, and I'm a Worldwide Sales Executive for ATTO Technology. And I'd like to also introduce my colleague, Azim Malik, who's a product specialist.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me here, Michelle.
And we also have with us Matt Mercurio, our Senior Customer Engineer. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, everybody.
So for over 30 years, ATTO's been designing high-performance storage connectivity solutions from the variety of products that we have, which include our host adapters to our Thunderlink products. And then what we're really going to talk a little bit more about today, our Extreme Core line of intelligent bridges. And today, as we discuss our Ethernet and tape, we'll speak a little bit more about how the Extreme Core solutions fit within those solutions. So if I can get us started. So Azim, what can you tell us about tape, and why is it important in today's workflows?
So Michelle, tape has been around for close to a century now, and it has become an indispensable component of our data protection strategies, even to this day. And in fact, I recently ran into an article that talked about how Google still backs up data on tape. And that made me realize that much of the world's data is still stored on tape, and it still offers a robust storage platform to protect data for long-term or for temporary documents. This is primarily because the value proposition of tape is very strong and very compelling, that it's not only staying relevant, but will continue to remain the same for the coming years. Whether it be the reliability, the capacity, the cost per terabyte, and most importantly, the power efficiency. We're currently in this era of tape renaissance, and with the industry pioneers who are continuing to pour in investment to develop more and more robust solutions around tape technology, that makes it even more interesting.
From speaking with my customers, I think that's exactly what I hear today. They use tape at different stages of their workflows. But I guess I'm also curious to know where tape is being used today.
Absolutely. So like I said earlier, most of the world's data still resides on tape, whether it be for basic science, particle physics, astronomy, national archives, oil exploration, you can name it all. Every industry vertical out there uses tape in some form of capacity. And it's also interesting to note that hyperscaler companies, cloud companies, are perhaps the largest consumers of tape media in the world. And amongst all of this, LTO is the leading tape format today, and this has a well-defined format, well-defined roadmap all the way to Gen 14 with native capacities up to 500 terabytes of storage.
That's a lot of information that you have. It's really interesting. So, I mean, my next question, I guess I would think from that would be, what's driving this change in the scene and the, as you called it, the resurgence of in tape adoption?
Absolutely. It's data. It's always data. It will always be data. And if you take a look at the statistics today, it's expected by 2025, you would have enough data to wrap around the planet at least 5 trillion times.
That's a lot.
And this is primarily being driven by the digital transformation that we are experiencing today, whether it be AI, machine learning, genomics research. record keeping, even in government. So let's just name a few. And increasingly, we're also seeing smaller enterprises and business also interested to invest in tape because of the growing concerns of ransomware and data breaches and cybersecurity issues. I think Matt has some insights on that more than I do.
I sure do, Azim. Actually, if you look at the most recent numbers, cybersecurity incident and downtimes have resulted in increased vulnerabilities. It compromises data and everyday operations. In 2023, the average data breach is close to $4.5 million, with 82% of the breaches involved in cloud environments. This puts businesses and services at risk with the potential for losing revenue and even keeping up with their day-to-day operations. Organizations, big and small, are losing millions of dollars because of these problems. And they're battling resources and recovery objectives. They're missing one piece, tape. You need tape to be able to restore that back because it's kept off site, it's kept away from the disaster.
Okay. So, I mean, it does present, a concerning picture. So then how do we ensure that tape backups, I guess, are prioritized? How can organizations extract its value?
Simple, it's connectivity. It's enabling your IT backbone to support tape or backup and archiving today.
How do we do it today?
So you will need a tape drive or tape library to write data to tape media itself. This could be done either via a direct server in a direct attached fashion, dedicated server in a direct attached fashion, or if you have the resources, you could implement a more comprehensive, a little complex and expensive fiber channel SAN, which is mostly tailored to larger environments.
Okay, so I guess then to me, neither of the options would be like the best way to get more out of your tape for tape backups, especially in the smaller, medium-sized environments. So is there a better way to do this?
That is a good catch. The answer is actually yes. So if you look at the enterprise IT today, Ethernet is the most dominant networking interface. It's widely popular, whether it be in large organizations or SMEs, SMBs, healthcare, and you can connect hundreds, if not thousands of devices on your Ethernet network, and 10 gig infrastructure is readily available today to you, and you can transfer large amounts of data reliably, quickly with really good transfer quality and speeds. And this actually opens up an interesting and a promising avenue for integrating tape backups into your existing Ethernet infrastructure without needing any specialized knowledge or extensive or expensive hardware.
So then what about the tape side?
On the tape side of things, we have two types of tape drives based on the interfaces. You have SAS and fiber channel. Both these variants are great options if you are looking to integrate tape backup and archiving into your workflows. However, the implementation is different. While it's quite the standard practice, as I mentioned earlier, to have FC tape drives to an FC SAN, attaching SAS to Ethernet, it's a more simpler, easy to manage, and cost-effective alternative, especially in environments where the performance of high-SCSI SAN is more than enough for your daily backup and archiving processes. And it's also interesting to note that starting with LTO 9, you now have access to full height SAS tape drives. This was not the case until LTO 8, where you only had access to full height on the fiber channel variant. So now you can get the performance of full height SAS tape drives at SAS price. So full height tape drives at SAS price, which also presents an interesting opportunity there.
Well, so that's interesting, but that does make me wonder then how tape backups are done today and why make the switch?
If you take SAS tape drives, the dominant way of doing it today is in a direct attached configuration. This means you present it, connect directly to a server, and that the server just handles all the backup and archiving there. However, this presents no means for the tape drives to be shared on the network. And this essentially limits essentially limits how you exploit the performance capabilities of newer LTO versions. I'll actually let Matt share some more insights on why this is limiting. Matt, could you share some insights on how SAS tape drives are integrated into the backup and archiving workflow today?
Sure, Azim. You've kind of already touched on that. Today's backup topologies are not any different than back in the old SCSI days. Today's SAS topologies are tape drives or libraries direct attached to a server through a SAS HBA. The server typically runs the primary backup software package and connects through the Ethernet to agents on other systems that might need to be backed up. You're stuck with everything going through that server. It's got its limitations.
So what are then, Matt, the difficulties that someone would have when using this type of configuration?
Well, first, it lacks reliability and scalability. The backups, if for some reason that backup server fails, you can't do backups. And in today's clustered environments, everything's designed for full redundancy. So you have network attached storage, fiber attached storage, and all the cluster nodes have access to that. So if one of those nodes fails, all the operations could go through the other nodes. But with a direct attached tape solution, you can't have that. The only way you can have that is buy another tape library and connect it to each another node, and that adds costs. Secondly, direct attached setups and tape drives cannot directly be shared on the network. So it forces everything to go through that backup server. And you're wasting resources in that server. You could be using it for other processes, applitions, or services. So if you are able to take that away from that server can be doing a lot more.
All right.
Oh, wait, there's one more point. I looked at my notes. I forgot I wanted to make, and it's the most important note. Most people don't realize this, but best practices is to have your tape backup offsite, away from your primary storage. This is in case of a major catastrophe. Okay, what if you have a fire? What if you have a ransomware attack? If your backup is on disk somewhere on site, that's going to be compromised too. Tape backup should be off-site. Using it over Ethernet makes it a lot easier to have direct access to that backup.
Yeah, because if I was the IT person, it's definitely not something that I'd want to walk into or become involved with if I was on that side. So I guess let's move back to Azim. So I'm going to ask you then, you're the product owner for the Extreme Core Bridge line. So, I mean, how did you run into the market? How did you see the market, and how did it shape your decisions, your product decisions in the end?
So Michelle, we see the market transitioning greatly, and IT leaders are starting to realize that the benefits of adopting simpler, easy to manage solutions that meet their scalable architectural needs, while still keeping up with those performance numbers. And more organizations, while they put their primary storage on the network, they've also expressed the desire to put their SAS tape drives on the network as well. And additionally, with the increase in ransomware and cybersecurity attacks, as Matt mentioned earlier, customers have continually expressed their interest in maintaining their backup offsite too.
Mm-hmm.
And attaching SAS tape drives to the network allows you to do these backups in a way that's easy, manageable, and shareable at scale.
So what solutions then do we offer to address this?
So, excuse me. So we do extend, we do have today, we do provide ATTO Extreme Core Bridges as a solution that allows you to share SAS block storage devices on the network. So the Extreme Core Bridges are these advanced protocol conversion devices with embedded intelligence in them that extend scalable, flexible, and manageable block storage connectivity across high-speed networks. And you can virtually connect any kind of SAS block storage device, whether it be either fiber channel or Ethernet networks using our bridges. For the purpose of today's presentation, we'll be just focusing on the Ethernet bridges. And you can still ensure the performance and the lower TCO at scale using the bridge. And this introduces a great way to store, manage, and also deliver the data in an era where the growth of data is overwhelming both storage and compute resources.
So then how does the ATTO Extreme Core, how is it capable of delivering that type of performance?
So that's a good question, Michelle. So this is actually possible this is actually made possible through our proprietary X-Core and T-Core technologies that are embedded into the hardware architecture. And this enables the bridge to deliver the performance you need, especially in applications like disaster recovery, data migration, replication, high availability across geographies. And additionally, it's also interesting to note that all of the network processing is done right in the hardware. And this eliminates the need for any additional compute cores for processing those requests. It delivers that compute efficiency that we direly need. And I'll let Matt take the lead on this. Matt, how is Extreme Core delivering the performance on scale? How is this doing it today?
Well, you've actually done a really good job of already describing one way that we do it. We have an X-Core and an E-Core technology, X-Core being an acceleration engine. And why would you need that? Converting between, I use this analogy a lot, converting between two human languages, let's say, if you spoke French and I spoke English, we'd have difficulty talking and we'd have a translator.
Right.
Well, that would cause latency in our conversation. The same thing happens when you're converting between SAS and Ethernet or SAS and fiber channel. You're adding latency. So our X-Core acceleration engine is one way that we use to eliminate that latency or at least reduce it. Another way is over the network. The further apart you go, the more latency. Everybody knows this in networking. The further apart, higher latency, that affects your performance. The other side of things is tape drives aren't like SSDs or hard disk drives or NVMe drives in that they can queue up commands. They can only take one command at a time. So as you can imagine, as you're going over a longer distance, you're sending one command, you got to wait longer for it to come back. Your tape performance is going to go down.
Yeah.
So this is where ATTO has introduced our proprietary technology called SpeedWrite. And the name gives it away what it does. It improves your write performance. And how we do this is by queuing up a second command on that line. And that helps reduce that latency you get over longer distances so that we can give you the high performance over Ethernet like you would expect in a direct attached topology.
That's interesting information right there.
Okay. All right. So thanks, Matt. That's definitely interesting architecture. And I guess, is this mainly for larger installations, Azim? Larger environments?
So I would say mostly targeting environments that demand the performance and availability on that scale. It could be large or small depending on the type of application. So yeah, that would be the right way to go for it.
So I mean, another question then that I have is there a more compact version of this that's specifically, targeting smaller to mid-size environments that aren't as demanding as the previous setup?
So if you look at this slide, I think we kind of get a clear idea of what ATTO has provided the market today. We have the extreme core bridges in different variants. We have the 7600, the 8200, either for the Ethernet networks or for the fiber channel networks. And then we also have for small workflows, we have the Thunder links, and then we have the SAS adapters. All these devices today address SAS device connectivity. However, as we navigated deeper into these market pockets, we identified that there are organizations who are looking to also put their small autoloaders or medium-sized libraries on the Ethernet network too. And this made us realize that, oh, there's a market gap in the market. This is where IT leaders and customers using smaller to mid-sized tape libraries wanted to make them shareable across the Ethernet network. And also at the same time, our partners and existing customers asked for it. So this presented an interesting opportunity to solve a problem and help build a solution that fine-tuned that balance between simplicity, performance, and cost.
So then how is ATTO addressing the need in the smaller to mid-size type of environment?
I was just getting to it.
Okay.
I'm really excited to introduce you to the Extreme Core 8100T. So this is a simple, scalable, and shareable connectivity solution for your tape backup and archiving workflows. Matt would be able to walk us through on how we can simplify this backup process using the 8100T.
Sure, Azim. The 8100T complements the 8200, but it's a lower cost solution for small and medium businesses looking to connect their SAS tape drives to their network at a more reasonable cost that fits their needs. The 8100T comes with two 10 gigabit Ethernet ports for data transfers. One SAS port where you can connect up to 4 LTO tape drives, LTO 7 and higher. Those LTO tape drives can be integrated in a tape library or autoloader. And it also has a 1 gigabit Ethernet management port where you can use secure protocols, SSH or HTTPS for managing the bridge.
All right.
Just like Extreme Core 8200, the 8100T comes with a speed write technology. So we're managing that latency over distances. You're still maintaining your tape's performance. The other thing is it uses the iSCSI protocol. iSCSI protocol is a block level protocol, just like fiber channel and SAS. So when you connect through our bridge and we present it to the operating system, it's going to appear in the same way as if you were connected to a SAS tape drive or a fiber channel tape drive. Okay. Your configuration of that backup software is the same. There's no additional licenses that we know of in the software that we've qualified, and we'll talk about that later. Mm-hmm. So there's no extra cost in your backup software package. Obviously, now that it's on the network, you are able to back up multiple workstations, up to 4 workstations or servers to those tape drives without having to be on the same site. You can keep it in remote location, separate from your primary storage, from your primary servers and cluster nodes. So you're prepared for disaster that way.
No, exactly. So thanks, Matt, on that. And then so that would actually, if I was in the situation, it would honestly make me feel a lot better, having an easy and a smooth way to run the tape backups. So Azim, though, when are we planning on releasing the 8100T to the market?
So we will be making the product available starting April this year. And we will be supporting 2 versions based on the network interface. You would have a 10 gig and also a 10 gig optical and a 10 gig RJ45 copper. And both these models will be available through our web store or through our distribution and reseller partner networks starting April this year. And both these models support LTO 7 or later. They come with LTFS support and SaaS transport layer retries. We will also have a client and a web-based GUI also to support easy configuration and management. You can also rack mount this device if you were to get multiple of these, and it's also available for purchase on our website too. And additionally, we've tested the bridge with leading backup software packages, as you can see on that slide. And this list continues to grow. And something that's not on here is our fan favorite Extend SAN iSCSI initiative for Mac OS environments. And this is also supported by the bridge. So this is exciting.
No, definitely.
There is one point
Yeah.
I'd actually like to add that, we forgot to mention, but the bridge is operating system agnostic. As long as there's an iSCSI initiator that's supported on that operating system, you can use this bridge solution with your tape backups.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, that's true. Well, I think that's great. It's really exciting news. So the 8100T bridge then, I mean, it's really, I think, an innovative approach to integrating SAS tape storage into everyday backup and archiving workflows. So with that, at this point, I'd like to open it up to any questions. If anyone has anything, feel free to type them into the chat box, and we'll be sure to answer them in the order that they're received. And we'll take a couple seconds while we're just taking a minute to put in any questions that we have. Just as a reminder, I mean, if you're putting together a solution for your backup and archiving, we really have a strong portfolio of products to complement that. That's from our fiber channel and our SAS host adapters to our Ethernet cards. And then we also have our whole line of Thunderbolt, Thunderlink products as well. And then what we spoke about today, we not only have the 8100T launching in April, we have the 8200, we have our fiber channel version, the 76. And then as he mentioned, everyone's favorite, the Extend SAN. And then for our Ethernet users, we do have our own software, ATTO 360, that we've added to that as well.
Yeah, and we actually have some specific performance profiles built into ATTO 360 specific for our bridge and tape solutions.
Oh, perfect. All right. So Azim, I'm going to lead this back to you. And, have you any of the questions that you want to roll over that we can take care of and answer for our customers?
Sure. I mean, I did receive some questions via email and also on my LinkedIn, interestingly. So some of the questions that they've asked is, so does the bridge introduce some form of latency as opposed to using a SAS HBA as an attached setting? So, and the answer to that is it does add minimum latency. However, the bridge comes with SpeedWrite, and SpeedWrite essentially is a proprietary feature that offsets that latency.
Well, and I would also say that it's not any different than the latency you would get if you were backing up over your backup server's network.
Absolutely, yeah. That was an interesting question.
So Matt, I'll let you take this.
We have a question from Peter. On the 8100, are the 10 gig ports bonded in any way, based on network? Could they theoretically support aggregate 20 gigs?
No, today we do not support bonding the ports so that you could bond or to aggregate the port speeds. Unfortunately not.
Okay, Azim, do you have any others as well? We'll just add one more in the essence of time.
Absolutely. Another question that I might have been asked was, with the LTO drives of being online on the network, how does the bridge ensure secure access to data?
Well, iSCSI comes with a few security built in right already, and it's called CHAP, Challenge Handshake Authentication authentication protocol. I always struggle through that. We also provide access control lists on there as well. And of course, best practices, you should always keep your data storage separate from your
Traffic.
regular everyday network traffic. So, obviously put it on a separate network. And since you're putting it off site, that would be what you want to do anyway.
So I'm going to wrap this up here. I'd like to thank Azim and I'd like to thank Matt and all of you that joined in for our session. We do have our products again. They're posted on our website. Please feel free to visit atto.com at any point in time and take a look at those or reach out to us. And we will be glad to answer any questions you have. And again, the 8100 is launching April 1st. So be looking for it. So at this point, I'd like to say thank you to everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.